And I'm here tonight to introduce Joe Wolfe to you, and I have to look at him, and I look at what he's done in terms of not just in won-loss records, which we'll talk about, but we know the impact he's had on the individuals here and the differences he's made, because Joe is a master, triple PhD psychology major, understanding the psychology of the Lassallean tradition and understanding how you can make a little difference in a young man's life at a crucial moment and keep him there. But Joe's legacy started because, fortunately, many of you in this room tonight know Monsignor Sheeter, and thank God Joe gave me his little note on the pronunciation of his name, who was a 27 graduate. Ray here, he married Ray. Joe was his nephew, and because of that, Joe was at St. Joe's in 1945 and 46 as a ball boy when my Uncle Alan played football there. Now, Joe, in terms of respect for the institution, 47 years at St. Joe's, 42 as the athletic director. He's a graduate, 57 graduate of St. Joe's, 62 graduate of Niagara. As soon as he got out of Niagara, he started as a history teacher in September, and got himself involved with sports, coaching, intramurals and so on. But his legacy, which will never be surpassed by any athletic director in the history of Western New York, 31 Supremacy Cups, 14 state championships, 273 overall championships, one-loss record as a JV football coach, 94 wins, 7 losses, 4 ties. As a baseball coach, 2 Georgetown Cup championships, head freshman basketball coach, top of everything. While he was teaching history, serving as an athletic director, he ran the St. Joe's annual food and clothing drive for the poor. When he started at St. Joe's, we had 6 sports and 12 coaches. Now we have 16 sports and 73 coaches. There's no one that understands coaches better than Joe Wolfe. And I am honored to say that he's been married to his wife, Judy, for 47 years. Joe's daughter, Kristen, has breast cancer right now, and Joe's been dealing with that and struggling, and you all know how much energy that can take. They have 3 children, Tom, Joe, and Kristen, 5 grandchildren, Drew, Emily, CJ, Melissa, and Ethan. But there's one other thing that is the secret to Joe. We're fortunate tonight, and I didn't know he was going to make it, that we have Chris Gavigan here tonight, because it's the Chris Gavigan stories, the Peter Riga stories, the Sean Darcy stories, where Joe saw something special in a young man and decided at the right time to step in and make a difference. And all of St. Joe's is internally indebted to Joe for all that he's done. So I'm going to ask Joe Wolfe to come on up here and say a few words. And hopefully he references some of our competitors in Buffalo who we really enjoy beating in sports. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean, for all of those kind remarks. I think, first of all, Sean deserves a huge round of applause just to get all of these people here and to pay the tab. Sean, we're most grateful for your generosity, your loyalty to St. Joe's, and certainly our friendship. And you picked a good intern. I still remember Ricky. I call you Ricky. I'm sorry. When Ricky was a freshman at St. Joe's, he was named the outstanding scholar athlete in the freshman class, and that seems just like yesterday, and now you're going into your senior year at, so the time really flies. Sean mentioned all of those things, and it was really nice, but it wasn't me so much. It was, I kind of had a great automobile or bus or whatever you want to call it to drive. It was the coaches and the athletes that provided the wheels, the motor, the machinery, okay? I kind of just kept them on the straight and narrow. We had great coaches, and we still have great coaches. We had great athletes. Unfortunately, the last few years, our competitors on Delaware Avenue have been giving out, well, I might as well be honest, scholarships. And it's difficult to compete when, for example, I think we kind of fell asleep about 6 years ago when Father Higgins went out and encouraged, bought, how does that sound? As you know, to get into St. Joe's, you take an entrance exam. And all of those kids that take entrance exams put down, if they take it at St. Joe's, your first choice, St. Joe's. Second choice, the vast majority put Canisius. The vast majority of Canisius kids put down St. Joe's simply because, as you all know, we kind of come from the same socioeconomic background. A lot of our friends went to Canisius or go to Canisius, and you know, a few kids will put down O'Hara if they live in Lancaster, St. Mary's, or South Buffalo, Timon. But in the middle of December, you get the results of all the kids that put down your school as a first choice or the second choice. And for as long as I can remember, once a kid made a decision, it was like the old AFL, NFL days. Only the old-timers in this room would remember that. But once a team signed with an AFL, or a kid signed with an AFL team, the NFL wouldn't touch him. Vice versa. If he signed with an NFL team, the AFL wouldn't touch him. Well, that was kind of an unwritten agreement until Father Higgins, Lord rest his soul, came to town and decided to offer scholarships to 11 of the top 13. He offered scholarships to the top 13. 11 of them decided to go to Canisius. The two that decided to go to St. Joe's, their fathers went there, and they had a tie and they had a loyalty to St. Joe's. Then I tell you another little story. My grandkids play a lot of, well, they play just about everything: lacrosse, soccer, baseball, hockey. And I can't remember, it was about 6 years ago, I was sitting at one of the events and talking to a parent, and she was so proud of her son, and she had heard that I was the athletic director at St. Joe's, and she said, you know, my son was all ready to go to St. Joe's. She says he took the exam there, and he's a terrific swimmer, but he got an academic scholarship to Canisius. So, and she says, I know you're not going to want to see this, but she says, I'm so proud of that. And she pulled out this copy. She says, this is just a copy. She says, we have the original mounted in our game room at home. And the kid was a great swimmer. He swam for this STAR organization, and any of you guys that are in swimming know about STAR. And she said that, and I read the letter, and Father Higgins did a magnificent job. He was creative, you know, and I kind of sloughed it off, but it was what a wonderful opportunity he had to get a Jesuit education, and he was being given a $1,000 academic scholarship. I went home, never thought much about it, and then that year, this kid was in 8th grade, and that year we had the Hogan brothers, and Paul is, where is Paul? There's Paul. Paul swam on a team that, well, we beat Canisius consistently for, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, something like that. And he was on a team that won every single event but one and we lost the all-Catholic, didn't we, Paul, by 1 point? Was that your senior year? By 1 point to Canisius. Only because Canisius took second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth in every event. So they were racking up but these were all freshmen and sophomores. These were the kids that were from Star. And I come to find out later on that this kid who had gotten this $1,000 scholarship, and at the time maybe Canisius was, I don't know what your dad paid, 6, 8, something like that, got this $1,000 scholarship, and he brought along, a bunch of his friends from Star, and we haven't beaten Canisius since. That was something I admired, and that they had the creativity. And what that particular parent did was give Canisius $100,000. So that was a pretty good deal that Father Higgins made. He gave the kid $1,000, and the old man gave him $99,000 back. And then I got to thinking, as they were beating us in swimming, and then we had the outstanding running back in Western New York as a sophomore, led the league in scoring, led the league in rushing, and where do you think he graduated from this past spring? Not St. Joe's, okay? Then, on top of it, they became even more creative. They went up to Toronto and got the best high school quarterback in Ontario. And he was their quarterback this past year. Without him, they don't beat St. Joe's. Now they got 3 more kids coming from Toronto. They got 4 football players coming from Burgard.